y'all doing? Pastor Lance here. We back. Week 2. We talking about spiritual habits in our series Atomic. And today we're talking about what it looks like to invest in the relationships that you have and how to do it in a way that pleases God. This is great. Look at this. I should probably be like a teacher or something like that. I definitely can see myself in the class. Sit down. Where you going? Stop talking in class. The square root of 78. Stop asking all them questions. On second thought, I probably should just stick to my job that I got here. But I'm so excited to get into what we're getting into today. Let's talk about the things that kind of drain you throughout the day. There are all sorts of things that can take our energy throughout the day, you know, whether that's picking out an outfit or interacting with somebody in your family without trying to fight them or anything like that, getting out the door on time, or even answering a text from someone that you've been putting off for some time. I know there are a lot of different things. You could probably think of a lot of things that drain your energy throughout the day. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when I have all of these things draining and taking away my energy, I feel crushed. And it's hard to try to balance all of these different things. Let me do it for example. Let me show you something. Let me take this as an example of things that drain your energy throughout the day. All right, let's think about school, right? Chores, part-time job. This looks cool. Scrolling through TikTok. We probably all spend a lot of energy on this. And trying to look cool in front of your crush. Matter of fact, let's do like 4 or 5 for that one. That's hard, ain't it? And also the expectation that we tend to put on ourselves. And that all combined could be a lot. Because by the end of the day, we don't realize that we just spending all this energy. It had to go somewhere. It had to be taken from something. And we don't realize that it's going to take up so much. And we end up more grumpy. We get the snapping off at folks because we aren't able to contain ourselves, because something happens when you drain your energy. I'm not going to cap. I must tell the truth. When these things happen to me and when I tend to expend my energy, I struggle doing the same things, getting cranky or yelling at other folks. Because the reality is, when we expend all of this different energy and we don't build up good habits, we end up taking it out on other people, whether it's somebody you live with, whether it's your friend, whether it's your parents or anything like that. And so we must realize that these things put us in very stressful situations. I'm gonna show a list of scenarios. In these different scenarios, what would you do and how would you respond in these different scenarios? See, when we talk about this pressure that we experience, we're not alone. Jesus himself was experiencing pressure as well. There's a moment in scripture when he's talking to his friends and he's under a lot of pressure, and he knows his disciples are about to be under a lot of pressure too, probably because of what's going to happen to him in the future. Let's take some time. Let me read through John chapter 15, verse 9 through 13. All right, let me read it like this. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I had kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one in this, that someone laid down his life for his friends. This conversation is captured in the book of John by John, a disciple who was also a friend of Jesus. And Jesus had a lot to say about his friends, how to treat people. Jesus' words, especially since these are some of his last words, they should be looked at as very important, because obviously if you're going to you're going to pass on, you're probably going to want to say some of the most important stuff that you can say. I'm not sure if you have someone that you would literally die for. I'm not sure if that's your style of friendships, but massive, over-the-top displays of love aren't exactly what Jesus is talking about. He's not talking about necessarily being showy and how you love someone. Sure, that is a way to love someone, but this is a little bit different, because when we're talking about laying your life down for your friends, you can't really make it a habit to die for someone. That's something you can only do one time, max, unless you're a cat. Kidding. And instead, let's think a little bit differently. When we talking about atomic, we talk about the invisible things that exist to make things exist, or at least almost invisible things because of how tiny they are to make things exist. Because we can definitely make it a habit to love each other in small but powerful ways, similar to what we talked about last week. We don't literally gotta die for somebody in order to sacrifice for them. We could just simply love them through everyday sacrifices, small things over time. I want y'all to look at this clip of a powerful act of love that started with a small act of kindness.
This is this 13-year-old.
I can't believe it myself. I can't believe it, but he did it. He did it. This was our resident. The water was about this high. Swam all the way here to this apartment, upstairs, 102. Then Virgil's phone rang, and that's when his friend said he needed help.
There was water coming in through the door. The water started getting higher, so we went outside to go see if we could see something. We saw VJ swimming around.
They say they can't swim. I have to help them. I have an air mattress. And he said, I'm gonna swim back.
I didn't want nothing to happen to him, like everything underwater, so I knew it was snakes, alligators.
He went behind this building where his friend called him and brought them back. They was all drying out. Virgil was standing up there, and we heard screams. And Virgil said, I hear someone screaming. And it was this lady over here in the wheelchair. So Virgil came down, swam with the air mattress, burst the window right there, got the lady out, and then his mother thought about a little cute little dog she had, and she wanted her dog too, so Virgil put the dog on the air mattress too. After the last person, they brought the air mattress back, it burst, and that was it.
See, Virgil, he became a hero because how he invested into others. He woke up that morning and he probably never thought or never even imagined that he'd be rescuing a friend. Is that something that you're gonna check up off your list when you wake up in the morning? Probably not. And he rescued a friend and another friend, a neighbor, and even a dog. But he did. He definitely did that. And because of his investments in others, 17 people were saved. I'm not saying you're gonna end up in a situation like Virgil, but You have no idea the kind of impact that your investments in others will have. Long time before Jesus even came, there's this dude named Solomon who wrote this book of Ecclesiastes. He's one of the wisest men, and he's writing this in the later half of his life. Let's see what he has to say about friendship in Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 through 12. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Again, if two lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand him. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. See, the idea that we need each other is not necessarily a new idea. See, God created us for relationships, and the benefits, they're amazing. When you have friends, you got support. You're not alone. You don't have to do all these different things. You have to experience life by yourself. You don't have to be lonely. You also have a defense, right? Like it talks about in the scripture. One man could probably be taken over by one man, but two people can't be taken over, right? Threefold cord is a metaphor about how when we have multiple people around us, it's harder for us to let the things in life overtake us. We all need people in our corner. We need people that encourage us, especially when life's pressure, it can sometimes feel like it's getting the best of us. Let's look at it this way. We got this tripod, right? But if it don't got all of the legs evened out, what happens when I put it down, right? Or even if it only has one leg to stand on, what's gonna happen? Right, same thing. But what's gonna happen when it's fully supported like it is designed to be, and the things are evened out? It stands. That's the way we need to look at how investing in relationships and the people that are around us can be helpful and are necessary for us to survive. All right, I'm breaking down like this. We all need solid relationships and friendships in order to get through the different things that we experience in life. And sure, you might say, I have a lot of friends, but who are those people that you have that when something goes down or when you're experiencing something that you can call on them? You can text them and say, hey man, can we hang out because I'm just not feeling good about this thing that happened in my life? Or hey, could you pray for me because I really got some things that I'm wrestling with and I just need somebody else to hear me out and go before God? Or hey friend, could you go and get a pizza with me just so that we can chill and just talk and stuff like that? Think about the friends that are necessary, the relationships that are necessary in order to be built so that you can be healthy in your life, in your relationships, right? Scripture makes it clear that we were created for relationships. We're designed, it's in our DNA, right? So if you want to be closer to God over time, and I hope you do, we got to take a look at the people we're growing closer to over time, because the relationships are going to dictate how we spend time with God, how healthy we are, and who we spend time with is going to determine how we spend time with God. So we need to make it a habit to invest in relationships. We got to make it a habit to invest in relationships, okay? All right, let's think about the three main components that it takes. We got time. Oh, my marker, no. Communication and work. Time, communication, and work. Those are the things that it takes to invest in relationships. If you're not spending time, then how can you invest in a relationship? The time is one of the most important assets that we all have, and when we expend it on something, We got to make it worth something that's worth it, right? So in this case, relationships, they're worth your time. They're worth investing into others. And let's talk about communication. Let's think about it. The same way that we need to talk to God and we need to be able to be honest with God with the things that we have going on, and we need to be able to confess the things that we struggle with and wrestle through. It's the same way when we invest in relationships, right? We have to communicate openly, honestly, and we have to be clear, right? And I hope you have the friends, like I have the friends, that when I'm going through something, I don't just say I'm upset. I say that I'm angry about this particular thing that happened. And that's the kind of friends you need. You need the friends that you can be open and honest with, and you also need to be clear with your emotions and your feelings, because you're the person that are experiencing those things. Your friends don't know these things are happening unless you express those things. Let's talk about work. You got to put the work in, because it ain't always easy building and investing in relationships. How are you going to put the work in? Are you willing to put in the effort? Are you willing to put in the needed sacrifices? You can invest in your friends by being willing to put in effort when things get challenging and when you need support or when you need to defend them. The real relationships and friendships are worth working for. And as we think about it, as we close, let's make it a habit to invest in relationships. Peace.